reflect on this morning. But on the matter of oral, and you say that sentiment is reflected in this response, as to the fact that people think that to the extent that we're only hearing the Attorney General give updates on fights, but not much in terms of getting people to jail if they have, as it were, dissipated state funds or stolen state funds, then they think that the government is not doing enough to fight corruption. Ora, what is happening?
Yeah, the oral fight is on. Yeah, it's on with so much alacrity, right? I think it's a vigorous fight. You know, the Attorney General has done a number of press conferences where he's updated us, right? And then also you have the OSP handling some of the cases. And then Yoko, Remonacha and Domilevo in charge there. They are also handling some of the cases. So let's start with Yoko. You see Chairman Wontumi. The president announced that the Wontumi case will be going to court in October. That's next month. And that's key. And you know, even part of the Wontumi case, Wontumi has different set of cases. The tax evasion, etc., the Exim Bank money, the fraud, right? And also the Akunta mining issues. And we have been calling for Wontumi's prosecution, endlessly. And so thankfully, next month, it will go to court. We'll see which ones. Are they both the Akunta mining side and then the Yoko one, or whichever? We'll see that. Then you have Abdul Hanan, the buffer stock company boss. Yes, his case has also, he was arrested. It's been dealt with, right? I'm sure that one will go to court soon. And so on and so forth. You come to OSP, they presented the Mustapha Hamid case involving about 280 million Ghana cedis. Mustapha will lie. The man who shed tears and eventually got ensnared in corruption himself, right? So will lie. He's also in court. And that's huge. It's huge. 280 million.
He's in court. It doesn't mean he's convicted.
Yeah, have we said he's convicted? If we say he's in court means that he's not been convicted.
I know, I'm just putting it.
But we are allowed to say that he came and was shedding crocodile tears.
I think it's worth saying that he's in court and
yes,
and has not been.
After shedding crocodile tears that they want to save this country, then he got ensnared.
So Council, move on. He has not been convicted.
All right. So Mustapha Hamid and his colleagues are also in court, right? Other OSP cases. In all, you know, over 200 of the previous government appointees have been arrested and cautioned. Yeah, the last time Fosukwachi was here, he mentioned 263.
And they had identified 263 prosecutable cases out of the over 2,000 that you presented in your report.
Yes.
So those are two different things.
And so what we are saying, let's repeat. They're saying that the previous government appointees, over 200 of them, have been invited in. So when we say arrest, like we've been saying, you will touch the person and say, look, you're under arrest for so and so crime, this. Then the investigations will commence. So it's not the same as keeping them in detention for long periods. So please.
Arrest is not about handcuffing.
Yeah, it's one of the forms. So that one, you're confining him. So you put the handcuffs, etc. It's a form. Yeah, it can continue for long. Okay. But what we are saying is that it is as simple as, let's go over, it's as simple as you touch Musa Dankwa, touch wood. You are under arrest for so and so and so.
You have to touch him.
Yes, you have to. Yes, you have to touch him. You are under arrest for so and so. Then anything you say, then the Miranda rights, anything you say will be taken down, blah, 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 right? Then after that, they will take his statement. So even NAPO, but NAPO himself said it, that he had been to NIB, etc. He had been reporting.
Yes.
So there are a whole lot, over 200 of them. So there are various investigations at various ends. But if they are not yet done, they would not be able to put everything out. But trust me, the investigations are ongoing.
Would you say that the constant updates by the Attorney General also influenced the level of expectation that people had?
But which is positive.
If you're continuously putting out that this has been found, this person is has actually misappropriated state funds and so on, then prosecute them.
Yes, and by all means, that's what the Attorney General and the others are doing. But we all know that court cases take quite a while because of due process, once again. Unless the people go in and then they plead guilty. So let me show you a classical case that came to end early. One of the OSP cases, it had to do with the payroll corruption in the northern region. So if you check even the OSP site, please, you can Google. You see that I think 5 or so of the accused persons, when they went to court straight away, they pleaded guilty and were sentenced. So you see that in this year, OSP has their convictions going up because the accused persons accepted their responsibility.
Yeah.
But, you know, a lot of the accused persons, the previous administration, they can, I mean, you know, when people are seeing a lot of money, they can engage lawyers to go and then drag things out. Don't forget even the previous NDC officials who were before court. Some of them had been before the court for having 6-7 years. They were able to drag everything, and then JM came and then they did the nolle prosequas and withdrawals. So unfortunately, that is the thing. We hope that this time it doesn't turn out that way. We will prosecute and finish quickly so that citizens will get better confidence in the system. So please, I mean, yes, ORA is on. No, the government knows that if they don't prosecute the ORA agenda well, they will go down. And so I have every confidence in the ability of the government to be able to take on the ORA cases. Prof, I like the point you made, that it means that there should be more reportage. Maybe Fusukwachi, if he's listening, I think he went with the president to the UN conference. Yeah, but hopefully if they are following, I'm sure there are other persons in government who are listening. So we need more reportage, more press conferences, because it's when you lay out the information to the citizenry, then they will know exactly where you are. Because the cases are many. There are many, and more are coming.
You had recommended that the Attorney General should look at passing on some of the cases to
bringing on more private practitioners. Yes, either they're engaging more of them, or like the US system, they would appoint some practitioners, private practitioners, and give them some of the cases.
There are plenty lawyers in the AG department, so I think.
But they are not enough. They are not enough.
Oh,
so we need
it's the largest law firm in Ghana, and they are well paid.
No, AG doesn't have enough lawyers. AG doesn't have enough lawyers. Oh, no,
they have more lawyers than any law firm.
Yes, there are more, but it's the whole country, so they are not enough. No. That thing is always, it's a perennial problem.
Okay.
So they need to engage more lawyers, right, to be able to come and help.
They should give some of the business to Oliver's firm, give some to your firm,
and let's your move firm on. Too.
Me, are you sure?
Because he's supporting Bawumia.
Okay,
that's why he wants. So he cannot prosecute Bawumia.
Okay, so I want us to you see, you reference what the president said.
Yes.
In the update he gave about the oral cases when he met us journalists 2 weeks ago. This is it. And then I'll come to you, Mr. Bento. Take a look at this.
In terms of the oral investigations, I would have very conveniently said the General Secretary himself is here, and so I'll call him to present his evidence to the public. But I can assure you that there's no way anybody can interfere. I cannot be in people's mind to stop them from attempting to interfere, but I am responsible for making sure that that interference comes to naught. And so I closely monitor. I hold regular meetings with the Attorney General. He briefs me on the status of investigations. And so I'm confident that, the cases will go ahead based on their merits, and that nobody would have the opportunity to interfere. If anybody goes lobbying people or paying people to interfere, they probably are just tricked.
Well, so that's the President, John Dramani Mahama there. A number of your messages, and we'll get into it. But you see, the concern, or if you monitor the sentiments that are captured in Musa Danquest's poll, it's about the speedy trial. People want to see that, to the extent that you are saying this person has done A, B, and C. If it's proven beyond reasonable doubt, then jail him.
Well, but proving it beyond reasonable doubt is not a quick thing. You see, the problem with politics and justice is that one can promise a lot of fast things, but the wheels of justice necessarily grind slow. So let me tell you frankly, oral was overhyped.
Oral was overhyped?
Oral was an overpromise. They came in, my brother, giddy, as if they would jail people tomorrow. He was in people's yards, and they were, this person has seized this land. And you see, when you criticize the justice delivery system like that, you end up where he has ended up. Look, He knows, because he's an expert in criminal law. The wheels of justice necessarily grind slowly. Okay? I think in our system, too slowly. But the point is that oral was overhyped and is under-delivering. It does not mean it has failed. And listen, I support oral. There are too many bandits in this country wearing political robes and robbing us blind on every side. And we must go after them. But please, be careful how you overhype it. Now, clearly, there is some good push in our economy. All right? The president is still enjoying a lot of goodwill. But Imani's polls, we've done some research. If you Google it, you'll find it. You will see that the sentiments are eroding, but it's very normal, very natural. You can't keep it up all the time. Okay? What we can do is find out why, what's going on, and that kind of thing. Ask me what's going on. The economy is doing well. The main reason why the economy is doing well is because the city is doing well. The main reason why the city is doing well is because we had 30 tons of gold from the previous government. All right? And we've sold about $3 billion of gold to hold up the city and shore up the economy. That gold is coming from galamsey. The galamsey is having problems here.
Well, right? It hasn't been proven any.
Well, the gold is not coming from the main mining companies. It's coming from small scale and other miners.
Yes, so illegal miners. I think we need to distinguish that. Well, small scale miners are not illegal miners.
I'm telling you that the bulk of the gold is not coming from. So let's not argue that.
Data. Yes.
Okay. My point is that there are good things, but there are also some other things we need to watch. Is there a fight against corruption? Today, is there a fight against corruption? Let me tell you something. There is a certain level of political arrogance that comes from winning an election emphatically like the NDC won. And I've seen it happening. Maybe their friends won't tell them, but I've seen it. A certain confidence that is arriving out of the fact that there was such a huge margin and Ghanaians are happy. And look, even when the president went to the UN, people are just happy to be rid of the previous government. Okay? And they're happy that we have a president like President Mahama, who is a fine gentleman. And President Mahama, I believe, but he hasn't told me, is fighting back his hawks. Okay? Because some people want to do some things. I am not happy with the way they treated CJ Tokono. Not because I don't want her removed, I want her removed. It's the process. And you see some of there's been a release coming out of that. And I think he's having to fight back his hawks. That is coming from that confidence that makes people believe that because of the nature of the margin and the kind of winning we have had, we can do almost anything. No, you can't do almost anything. There are a number of things in this economy which ultimately tell whether we are doing well or not. Water, health, energy, education, transport and telecommunications. Now, when the chips are down and we go to do the analysis and Musa Damkwa goes to check, people are going to start checking with these things. Right now, we are in a bit of an euphoria because of all the things that have gone on. But at the end of the day, how are we doing with water? I've told you the city is doing well. That affects everything. Okay? We're not doing well with water. Okay? It's just not coming up. All right? And galamsey is polluting the water. And we are not doing. One day, it's going to come up when the euphoria settles down. How are we doing with health? When was the last time you had a good discussion on the National Health Insurance Scheme? A good discussion on it.
Kofi, just a second.
No.
Just a second.
Kofi is speaking all over the place.
I want to be... Prof, no, you asked a specific question. But I think the question had to do with oral.
He has got...
I think all over the place.
There are many things I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with the questions.
Because the oral.
Right. I said oral is just one of the things. It's about generally the sentiments around now. And I'm saying oral was one of the big things. And you see, it excites people. People want to see the people who messed us up pay. And I'm saying, much as that excitement was there was an over-promising in oral. And now we are realizing the effects that, look, you can't just catch people and jail them. And so people are feeling like it's slow. All right? Well, it's not really slow. It's the way the system works.
But the Attorney General himself has indicated that he knows that proving guilt in criminality is not a walk in the park.
Yes, exactly.
But then again, you juxtapose that position of how slow the system is to the expectations of the people.
And I'm saying that expectation was because of the nature of the promises that were made. So I'm saying when you politicize the justice delivery
recover or lose.
Yes. Let's just be
okay, hold on.
So let's just be careful.
Hold on.
You recover or lose.
Gentlemen, let me say this. Hold on.
Okay. Let's just be careful about that.
If one person is speaking, I would ask that.
Now,
hold on, gentlemen. If you want to make an intervention, let me know. I would always acknowledge that, but let's not obstruct.
Good. Okay.
The flow of others.
Let me go on.
Yes.
Now, so much as oral is going slower than people wanted, expected, or hoped, you have a situation where there has been a whole load of nulli prosequis. Okay, existing prosecutions that were ongoing, which have been stopped, for good or for bad. I'm not making a value judgment on that. But that's what the people are seeing. Our people are getting off the hook, and other people now are being thrown into the system. Okay, then again, do not make light of the nature or the way that CJ Tokono has been treated. Okay, we can't say she's a popular person, all right, because she has been attached to the previous government. All right, so there's a certain sentiment that 707070 remove her. But I'm telling you, sober-minded people worry about the process.
Okay, that's the next conversation.
I'm making a point about, you see, your question was about, a generality. So I'm saying that generally, you move from a very high position, but these are the things that are eating down, the kind of popularity that the government started with. And I wish them well. I think generally it's a pass mark. But these are some of the things that are weighing them down, as we have found in Imani, and as people like Moses and Kweku also have found.
Could anything have been done differently about the oral fight than what we are seeing now? Because there was a specific promise: recover all load.
My point is this: I support oral, but oral cannot be as fast as it was promised. So the problem is in the nature of the promise and the expectations that were created. And I'm saying the politicians in future, both MPP and NDC, should be careful how they promise swift, justice, because justice is not necessarily that swift if it has to be done properly.
Oliver, was there any issue with the nature of the promise of oral?
I think that oral is in fact underhyped. I think that
underhyped.
Yes, I think that this ability to save the Fourth Republic from the path that we are on, we haven't sufficiently understood and communicated that well to the people. Now, a lot of the times when we're having the conversation, it seems that our attention about oral is driven, and we talk about Attorney General, on the prosecution. But the investigative work is what we haven't sufficiently talked about. Our capacity to be able to unravel white-collar crime, financial transfers into jurisdictions like Barbados and others by folks, we haven't been able to unravel that. I haven't seen an audit of all state institutions, MMDAs, all of them, to show procurements that were made in terms of, we know whether we went through the proper procurement channels, whether we had value for money for all of them. I do not believe, and I was in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I've been a civil servant before. And I know that every value chain of every expenditure of government, right down to the caterer who is bringing food here, there are corruption across the entire value chain. So we have a bigger problem that is so ingrained in our system as a people that it is not, let us not make less of how, everywhere you turn, corruption is there. Even in terms of the prosecution process, I have clients where prosecutors will tell them, I need to file a paper for you. Come and pay 1,500 cedis. When you don't pay in terms of filing cases in criminal cases. So every aspect of our society is so engulfed in corruption that we cannot belittle it. That has no saying as to whether or not I am particularly pleased as to the state of where we are in terms of where oral is. It is not just, again, the Attorney General focus is not just about we have to take people through due process. It is about the extent of seeing, okay, what is the investigative capacity that has been increased vis-a-vis oral? What is the investment that have been made in connection with prosecutorial capacity vis-a-vis how we fight with oral? What is the law reform that we have brought? Kofi was talking earlier about RICO laws and racketeering and all of that, and be able to recognize organized crime. What legal tools have we brought in place? What is the lifestyle audit law and framework for how we do that? All of these things have not been put in place. When we're talking about even the court systems, I have been in court, and in so many cases I am defending, where you go before a judge, you take one witness for 1 hour. They say that the next time you come back is in a month. for another 1 hour.
3 months.
Then you're telling me that you're going to bring all these cases. Forget the 1,400 that have been arrested for galamsey.
Yeah.
You're bringing them into the same existing court structure without any increase in the capacity of the courts to be able to handle that. So there's the infrastructure of oral that I think is still missing for me. That hasn't been fully fleshed out. It's not about the number of cases. So I have not seen the administrative build-up that reinforces and reassures that capacity is being dealt with. The questions about, the previous administration and folks who were being prosecuted, and then they used technical delays to be able to frustrate the process for 8 years. We knew this before we got into, before the government got into power. So what has been done differently? So if you're coming to prosecute all these things, and I don't doubt your commitment and I don't doubt your understanding that we have lost so much on corruption. But then when I see that in terms of the infrastructure of our justice system, it hasn't changed in any way, then I'm doubtful whether or not you sufficiently understand the problem or you're just being naive. So for me, there's an element of naivete or then you're not resourced enough. So perhaps that's the question. It is.
I think you've agreed with me.
No, then for me, so it's not about
the system for speedy justice delivery.
So the bulk of the work around oral has to be that system.
Yes.
And I have expressed disappointment with the preparatory committee.
You agree with me.
The reason why I was disagreeing with I like the idea of putting in place a preparatory committee. I had assumed that their mandate would be dealing with those questions of institutional, legislative reform ideas about how, these are all the problems that will haunt the process. How do you deal with it? It then became a letterbox for people to bring their complaints to. So the value of what the preparatory committee should have been doing is all the roadblocks that were going to challenge oral in the way forward. And how then do we make proposals and hit the ground running to reform the infrastructure of our criminal justice system to allow for more speed in terms of what people want to see.
So you want to...
Sorry, a final point first.
Right.
I do not take away the fact that the fact of legal vacation in itself would influence people's perception as to whether or not there's heat on oral. Because the fact that the courts can, up and leave from the end of July and come back in October, meaning that people are not going to see anything within that time stretch. And so when the poll is being done within that time stretch, obviously the sentiment is that, what is now happening? Because everything seems to have died down in terms of the conversation. But if there was investigative capacity, and we are seeing the number of people even within the time the courts are on vacation, being arrested, being brought before, new charges being prepared and filed, throughout all this process, then we'll then be like, even when the courts are not there, we are seeing a lot of momentum around this. So I still think there's time to go back to the drawing board in terms of the capacity we need to put in place, the diagnosis we need to make. I hope that we have an emergency conversation and dialogue within the security institutions and the prosecutorial agencies, and even in terms of civil society, in terms of this is the new approach, this is the strategy, this is how we're going to reform law around these things. The conversations around, the parameters around recovery, non-prosecution based recoveries. What is the conversation point around those? Was the first time it was brought into the public, the government lost credibility around the before matter. So before you get into that kind of conversation, you need to be able to workshop some of these ideas in terms of this is what we are thinking, this is what the difficulties around are going to be, this is where we are going to be able to offer people deals, these are the people we are hoping that will testify against others. All of that infrastructure has not been revealed. All I see is business as usual. I don't see anything in terms of how the administration of justice is being done, which is different from the Godfrey Dami years and now. Nothing has changed infrastructure-wise.
And you use the word deals, and we did our own small survey. People's understanding of the deals alone is different from what the law definition of deals is. You probably use for...
No, I think so. I think so as well. I mean, to be fair, and I must say that, Fiavi's point as well was, was carried and then also kind of made people apprehensive. Already we are very apprehensive when politicians promise us that they are going to prosecute each other. So we already come a historical, skepticism that in fact they are not going to scratch each other's back. So you already have to build with that confidence gap that the people have in terms of the alacrity with which politicians will deal with themselves. And that you know that you have to, throughout all of this, the only thing that can make oral successful is building public trust and gaining a mandate from the street. That people are eager about it, people are believing in it. Even that influences the court's attitude to it. Because if the courts see, a strong drive towards something, they align with the executive 98% of the time. But then if it seems that, things are becoming lax, well, they don't treat it themselves with any particular sense of urgency.
So the expectation would have been, and Prof, I'll come to you briefly. The expectation was that instead of starting with the oral prosecution, there should have been addressing the problems,
structural
or challenges within the justice delivery system.
I think so as well. I think so as well, that within the justice delivery system having been dealt with. And also we have to have a number of measures. Listen, one of the mistakes we make as a people is that we look back on the PNDC years, we look back on the AFRC years, as if there's nothing to learn from. Some of the most innovative legal instruments, laws that were passed within those systems, those eras, are things that we should have learned from in terms of how we deal with oral. There are parts of it that we should have considered, okay, which aspects of this would be good for commissions of inquiry which are televised? Because oral is also about attitudinal change and societal ethic. That if people are seeing in terms of commissions of inquiries that are televised, if I was president, I would put oral on display on national television. The people should see how much loot that we are talking about. The people should see the kind of mess we are talking about across several industries, complemented with the investigations that have been done, complemented with the prosecutions, complemented with the number of private practitioners we are bringing on board, the special counsels we are appointing, like, Martin was suggesting about that appointed, that you're sorry to lead investigations in terms of this particular deal or that. So if there was seriousness and we saw this as an existential crisis, our approach to it would determine how we deal with it, I would say. Prof.
No, you see, I was a bit worried. My senior Kofi Bento was saying so many things, some of them that I had
think you landed on the point.
Imponderable objections to them, but he said plenty things, so then I forgot. But I want to say that it is unfair to say a promise to recover all loot without giving a periodization to the promise overhypes that promise. I think that in the lead up to the 2024 elections, we had all seen the extent to which lootings have gone on. And there was a promise that should power be won, these loots will be recovered. And there was no periodization. It was not one of those promises that the president said, in 100 days, I'm going to recover all loots. So I want to believe, and we all are reasonable people, we know that the president was minded about the fact that in trying to recover all these loots within the practice of a democracy, you are not just going there to be just seizing people's, stuff. You are going to resort to the law and legal processes, which we all know that the processes are problematic. We know that the processes are problematic. And so, rather than appreciating or interrogating the status quo with regards to the problematic processes, we are using the problematic processes to criticize the great promise whose implementation is ongoing. I think it is unfair. We should rather call out the sometimes deliberate delays within the processes. Nobody here, your boss here, will not allow all the entire staff in media general to go on leave. Why do we have a process that allows all judges and all lawyers to go on leave at a go?
Some courts are working.
No, some courts are working. But emergency. But generally, a preponderant majority of you guys are on leave. So how can, why, all these
I think some education will
there must be a reason. Let me make the point. Let me make the point so they all come in. Let me make the point. I mean, I kept quiet. You like Prof, you've gone and paid bribe to me.
But there's a point of correction.
You're correct. That's so my point is that we have a certain legal system that allows all lawyers and judges to go on leave, or a preponderant majority of them to go on leave at a go. And this fits into the delays, in our legal processes. And so my point is, it is up to us not to accept the delays and status quo as norm. Oh, that is how it is. As the axis of justice delivery system grinds slowly. And that's what we all say, without also appreciating the fact that sometimes justice delayed will be justice denied. Okay, so rather than saying oral was is an overhyped promise, I would want us to appreciate or to tell Ghanaians that, look, it was a good promise, but its implementation has been slow because of the problematic legal processes we have, as a people. And then let's begin to interrogate the legal processes and the delays, the attendant delays. Let's interrogate and make recommendations, for reform. Because like you rightly said, it's like we have not learned from how things were done in the past. I think that we must be interrogating or questioning the status quo, especially the ones that border on delay. But for me, so long as the oral processes are going on, I think we are fine. And it is important that, as I indicated earlier, with respect to Martin, it is important that we always communicate and tell the people what is being done in the drive to recover all loot. It is important that we let the people, we carry them on board. It is when we are carrying them on and we are letting them understand what is being done. And it is when we are letting them appreciate the fact that the government means well, but there are delays. Like you said, you go and speak for 30 seconds and then they adjourn the case for 3 months. And you go and speak for another 1 minute, they adjourn for. It is important that you carry Ghana, you feed all this information to the good people of Ghana so that when they also begin to mount pressure, it shapes the conduct of judges. When the judges know that the people are now being intolerant of our delays. Some of the delays, you guys are all lawyers, apart from me and my Medina Lotto forecaster. He said, it's no longer a Lotto forecaster in quote. Apart, you are all lawyers, and you know that sometimes some of the delays are deliberately occasioned. You know it. Yes. So please, I would favor every move at recovering the loots of Ghana. And if there are delays, and the delays are creating an impression as if nothing is being done, it is important that we feed what is practically happening, into the public domain, so that we'll be able to allow the public to also own the processes, and where they think that there are inordinate delays, they also bring a certain pressure to bear on the system. It is only when we begin to put that kind of pressure on the system that will force people from shying away from some of the sources of delays. And this is what I want to say about that. Now, I am open to your education about the leave. You are all going on leave at the same time.
Okay. Who does that? So the thing is that this practice is over a century years old.
It's a colonial relic.
It's a colonial relic. It must go. We must interrogate and challenge it.
It serves a very useful purpose. Look, the stress of legal practice. When you mean practice, Monday to Friday, you are in court.
Doctors have stress.
Everybody is stressed. Everybody is stressed. So stagger it. Can't we organize it? Okay, today this section, they are on vacation. Martin, I'm going to see you.
Everybody should go on leave.
I'm going to see you. We all go. Days. But people, they bring their leave. And then you tell them, no, you people go. The three of you, you can go. And then let this one remain. And then the next time, these ones will go. Can't we manage it? Can't we manage it such that...
Okay, please, just a minute. The actual correction hasn't come. The correction is this. Not the whole legal system goes on leave. Circuit courts are working. I've been in court this week. All right? Okay. There are online courts. They are working. And there are emergency judges. They are working. But the fundamental point remains that the justice system goes on break for a certain number of months every year, and that's anomalous. It's a colonial relic that allowed the foreign judges to travel back to the UK and come. We are continuing it doesn't make sense. So, no, we are not saying we shouldn't go on leave.
No, he's telling you the historical...
No. He says we are tired and everything. I'm allowed to. I'm saying it doesn't make sense for, like he's saying, for most of the system to just shut down, okay, and everybody goes. So I'm saying, let us kind of stagger it, have an arrangement where it runs. Because look, like you're saying, I go to court, last week I was in 2-3 different courts. You speak for let's say an hour or two, it's adjourned for 4 months. We are next year, as we speak. The court's calendars are in next year. I got a date in March of next year. All right. So look, there's such a backlog that it doesn't make sense for us to be continuing what was a colonial relic. We need to re-engineer the thing.
We need 24-hour courts. So what happens
we don't need 24-hour
in the UK,
Absolutely.
in the UK, the US, and other Western countries, it's there. They still have it. They still have it, and it's for a good purpose. As I said, look, from experience, don't touch the vacation. What we need to do, it serves a very useful purpose. I mean, come on, you go to court, you get tired. The stress is unimaginable.
Engineers get tired.
So what we do now, ours is different. Ours is go to sleep within the problem.
No, but you want to. So see, the divergent views are say that. No, Martin, don't say that. It's okay. We all go to sleep with our problems.
Okay, thank you.
I am told. So I speak in my sleep, and I'm always talking about what.
Oh my God. So let me end this way quickly. So the thing is that, yes, let's deal with the backlog. Okay, that's where the challenge is. Yes, the courts here, a lot of the courts here are choked. So we need to employ more judges. That's the problem. We need to employ more judges, especially in Accra.
You should become a judge.
Oh, no. Who will make the noise here? That's the thing. I've thought about it, but I think we need more noise here. Oliver and etc. We need to stay here. Of course, someday, why not? When I've left for about maybe 10 years to retire, I can look at it. But now we need more people to hold government to account here. You say, so if we employ more judges, then they will be able to take some of the backlogs. Then we can have speedy justice, because just as you said,
and modernizing the legal system.
Excellent. When you go into the court system, the rate at which the
transcription software.
Yes, exactly. You go to the UK,
transcription software.
The court is in session, and you know that even part of the transcription software, it goes to Barbados. Can you imagine?
The next
outside
day you have
the UK. So you have a court system in the UK. They are talking, and somebody's in Barbados, the Caribbean, working, trying to produce a transcript, etc. And we are here, the fast track system, we tried it. There were these recorders, then eventually they got out of fashion. Long story short, now we don't have any more recorders. So we need a modern justice system.
We don't have fast track courts again.
Oh, now all the courts have become fast track.
They are slow courts. Listen, you say one thing, it takes
final point, Oliver.
30 minutes to make your point. Somebody to time.
Bafubody was come. Bafubody, Chief Justice, we beg you, is that we need reforms in the bailiff system. Right? There are not enough bailiffs. The bailiffs are too few.
Electronic services process.
Electronic services. Use email.
Millions of graduates home. Let's pay for that extra. Or you
Martin,
let me
tell you an experience. I mean, some students took the university to court, and then I think I happened to be there to witness the process. The lawyer was talking. And he was dictating to somebody to.
That's our fast track court.
He was dictating. He was dictating what he wanted to say.
Yes.
And I couldn't stand.
It messes with your mind badly.
And you say that we can.
We will remove
in spite of all these things, we should. Oral should go quickly.
So knowing that, you should have been careful to make.
Okay. No. I mean, the process. The point is that we must recover every loot, and that cannot.
Nobody's arguing with that.
That cannot be anything. Any promise that you can.
Nobody is.
So I think he indicated quite clearly that he supports oral.
Yes.
It is the how that probably
The
is
system
where
is
they.
not.
So it is the inefficiencies in the judicial system that is impacting the delivery, the speedy delivery of the expectations of oral. That's another issue that will have to be dealt with. But you know, a number of you are sending messages about the lamentations of the lawyers about the legal system. This is what happens when you have a lot of lawyers at the table. They'll talk about their problems and what has to be done to improve the system, which is to the good of all of us. It's actually to the greater good, because in the end, if the systems are improved in judicial delivery systems in this country, it goes to the good of all of us. Mr. Nakwa is going to leave us at this point, because the stories behind the data you put out is quite clear, because then you're able to deduce why the sentiments are declining about the government's commitment to fighting corruption, because people say they don't see so much action about oral. But now we have an understanding of why that could be the case and what could be happening in the few months ahead of us. The president did give an indication of the oral cases and what is going to be done in the next few weeks. When is the legal vacation over?
So it's about 9th, the first Monday after the first Friday of October.
Okay. So that's
The second week of October.
Look at all this.
Second week of October.
You just said that it was for foreign judges to go and visit their family. So
UK, so the US, so that many other countries.
Yeah, but
thank you. This is what the president said about what's going to be happening when the legal vacation is over on the oral cases. Let's take a look at this.
That's what I'm
can you have the legal
Yeah, with regards to oral. Send out kind MPP address some of the Shishabi by IMRA say abinde woody efa case be home say ebia wafesika na bibia o akwenya obetimi aka say you ene aban case na mode kwedu amode bomeno me sande sika na say agudie bia na say bibia mode bom kwedu no me sande aba se ne be ya momfa me nkoto how do they call imprisonment if you say momfa me nkoto if you say enti ayemra eda ho enti obi a yabo no kwedu bia ewo tumi say obeka say you ene yentwa so na memfa say imra na yenjai sa eyuno enti eno enye aban ena ebeka eye nipa ye de na kogina court and so say oka say oh munjai asem no mu na memfa say imra na say agudie bia me fa ye memfa famra na say japade bia me fa ye memfa famra na.
That's the president talking. Also a question about the plea bargain, which you describe as the deal, which obviously got some reactions. Quite a number of your messages. This one here says, "Good morning." It says, so if the courts are that slow, as all your lawyers at the table are saying, how come Apenyomakin got speedy judgment same day? You want to answer that?
These are some of the issues that came up during the removal of the Chief Justice. So I can't comment since I was one of the lawyers involved.
For me, it simply means that if the courts want to be, they can be faster.
Right.
Right. There are institutional strictures, hard areas. And the question is, why should somebody jump the line? I mean, in the Demelevo case we both were in, it stayed there till the matter was moot. Okay, and I think that was deliberate. So when they want to, they can be faster.
So the courts can be deliberately slow, and they can be deliberately fast as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
One,
but it doesn't discount the structural problems.
Yes.
It's just a jumping of the queue for some cases.
Yes.
But the structural problems still persist.
Okay. Good. You remember the cases where judges say they will sit a day on
Day and
daily
night,
basis?
yes.
Remember the Jáil case?
Yes.
Yeah, the judge said we'll sit daily, and eventually I see that she was able to finish in good time when this government, the new administration. Then you remember the NAM1 case. And then there was another case that it was said that they would do on daily basis. That one, the public very happy about it. Is it Ato Forson's case or something? Which one? Jáil. But yeah, that's the one we're not happy about, right? Yes, because we're now pointing figures that why were they not doing that in other cases? Yes,
Yeah. But
being
clearly,
yeah,
it cannot be done for other cases. They'll burn out.
Right.
So that kind of thing cannot go on all the time. But there are some structural problems that can be solved. For instance, today we have, even on your phone, sufficiently good transcription software. Okay? About 7 years ago, I and some guys who are involved in business process outsourcing proposed a system by which people will transcribe, and in 24 hours you have the court report. Okay? Of course, it takes time for some of these things to catch up, but I'm saying that it is possible for us to stop this practice of lawyers having to dictate, to somebody typing. Okay? It even messes with your mind. So those can be dealt with, and that will be the challenge of whoever becomes Chief Justice, the new Chief Justice that is coming on. We can modernize the courts and reduce some of these delays.
And talking about the
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.